Welcome to the Rescued by Dragons podcast, Tales of the Brunch Club, a weekly fantasy tale inspired by the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game. We're taking a break in the story to bring you a recap of episodes 1 through 30 to catch everyone up on what's happened to our friends so far. Warning, there will be spoilers. In the beginning, the gnome sorceress Salis met the elf ranger Alora on the road to Sturgeon, where they met the lunar elf cleric Drusilla. The three of them met the dragonborn paladin Vorjon, fighting bandits and a crocodile on the way to Hill. They learned that all four of them were headed to the Crystal Spire Library in Elnor and decided to travel together. Vorjon introduced them to his friend, Farmer Jameson, who needed help with a bunch of goblins harassing his farm. In Hill, they got a job tracking down a potion smuggling ring, which they found and traced back to Sturgeon. They got attacked by the smugglers and got thrown in jail, but were bailed out by Captain Grath, who Alora eventually hooked up with when she was at full health. The Brunch Club decided to cut through the Blue Lich Bog, fondly known as the Bitch Bog by the locals, to cut time off their trip to Elnor. During their travels, they were taunted by a black dragon and battled many creatures, including a bullywug who Drusilla killed with a ladle full of cranberry sauce, and a basilisk who turned Vorjon to stone. Fortunately, Salis' wild magic surge revived Vorjon, and they made it through the bog to Bowmore. In Bowmore, they met Ulrich, the druid. They accidentally released a nightmare and failed to save a little girl from being transformed into a bog hag. They paired up with adventurer brothers, Chad and Thad, to kill a barghest that was terrorizing Bowmore from the northwest forest. On their way to Wheaton, they saved a merchant named Bronald and his Kenku companion from a hill giant. Bronald told them to check out a magical supply shop in Wheaton called the Sunspot. The Brunch Club arrived in Wheaton and went to the Sunspot, where they met its owner, the wizard Saberhagen, who was also a cat. Saberhagen offered to be their patron in exchange for collecting rare items for him and spreading word of his shop around the land. They killed harpies and a banshee that had been haunting a lighthouse in Wheaton's harbor for years, and were given the lighthouse as a gift from the mayor. Vorjon bought a scroll of Find Familiar for Salis, who conjured a white pygmy owl named Pip. He was rather rude. An army of gnolls stormed through Wheaton's gates and set buildings on fire. The Brunch Club and Saberhagen fought them off. Using the Speak with Dead spell, Drusilla questioned a dead gnoll and discovered that they were sent to the town by a druid named Rajat, who was gathering an army of gnolls in the forest to the north. On the way to Elnor, they explored a cave on the coast. Vorjon tripped and slid into a cavern where cultists were performing a ritual to summon a kraken. They killed the cultists and continued to Elnor. On their way to Elnor, they met a dwarven rogue named Diesa, who offered to share a treasure with them if they helped her read a confusing map. They followed the map to an abandoned mine where they found an empty treasure chest with a note from the Dark Serpent, who'd beat them to the treasure. They were attacked by 3 large winter wolves, which they killed and skinned to have their pelts made into cold-resistant cloaks. When they reached Elnor, they accepted a bounty from the Cell Sons to kill a pair of giants northwest of the city and bring back their heads. They set a trap for a giant, but it attracted a chimera and other beasts instead. They killed the beasts and ambushed the giants. One of the giants' heads was destroyed, so they cut off the penises as proof they had killed them. Back in Elnor, they got invited to a gala by Lady Tyrol. At the gala, they met a wizard named Ahura Mazda and his tiny piglet familiar, Zoroaster. Ahura accused Tyrol of being an assassin named Varjo, and they did battle. Vorjon tried to get them to stop, but got the Brunch Club embroiled in the fight. Mazda killed Tyrol, then reanimated her corpse and disappeared with her through a portal. Solania and Ilion of Elnor's Council of 5 appeared at the gala and questioned all the guests about what happened. The Brunch Club explored the house and were attacked by a mimic, and found papers that confirmed Tyrol was indeed the assassin Varjo. In exchange for access to the Crystal Spire Library, Solania gave them the task of killing the undead that had been spawning in the crypts beneath the ruins of the Temple of the Raven Queen. In the crypts, they found their way to the final room, where they encountered an undead beholder. The beholder disintegrated Salis before being killed by the rest of the group. Vorjon prayed to the dragon god Bahamut to exchange his life for hers. His wish was granted, and Salus was resurrected as Vorjon disappeared. Our story will resume next week in episode 31. You can listen to this podcast at RescuedByDragons.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Tales of the Brunch Club is based upon a homebrew Dungeons & Dragons campaign and written by Anna Flemke, Bethany Powers, Brian Messmer, Dominic White, JP Black, and Liz Richard. You can follow us on Instagram at RescuedByDragons or on Twitter at RescuedDragons. Thank you for listening.